Hey there, friends and enemies, Jopie here again, and today we got even more spoilers for the upcoming Spider-Man Magic the Gathering set. And I know not everyone is super thrilled about the cards we've seen so far, but I think in this collection in particular, we have some very interesting cards. Not only the art looks very, very good in my opinion, but also some pretty useful cards across all formats when all things are considered. So I'm really looking forward to this set. I am a fan of Marvel and Spider-Man, so I'm a little bit influenced by that as well. And yeah, I just want to jump into these cards, kind of go over the highlights. There are a lot of them that we just got teased, so I don't think I'll go over every single one of them in detail, just the highlights like the Spot Living Portal. This one looks this art right here is tremendous in my opinion. The Spot Living Portal is a 4/4 human scientist villain that costs 3 colorless, a white and a black. When the spot enters, exile up to one target non-land permanent and up to one target non-land permanent card from a graveyard. When the spot dies, put him on the bottom of his owner's library. If you do, return the exiled card to their owner's hand. So some very interesting potential there, and I do think this is a card I will be chasing, but not maybe as strong as some of the others we've seen so far. Hydro Man looks pretty solid, but this Thrill of Possibility art right here, I think looks incredible. I definitely want this card for sure. This is a mythic that costs colorless and a red for an instant that says, as an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card to draw 2 cards. Nothing too crazy there, but it does look very, very good. We get a reprint of Rasta of the Endless Web in the Master Weaver Web Protector. That looks very good. Winds of Change. Again, I think this is pretty solid art. But this right here, Opposition Agent, I need this bad. 2 colorless and a black for a 3/2 that has flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. That's actually, that sounds so insane. I think it's such a dope looking card too, that I definitely want that for a lot of different reasons. Spider Sense is an obvious card that we're seeing here. I think the different arts on it are pretty good as well. You got 3 different options, and all of them are pretty good. We see Web Slinging resurface here again. These are all commons and uncommons that are not bad, but again, flavor-wise, they make a lot of sense, and I do think they kind of tie into the wider Spider-Man universe, which I do very much personally enjoy. We get some vehicles like subway, train, and passenger ferry. Very New York themed. As somebody from New York originally, I grew up there. Again, a lot of very familiar sights within this, which I do enjoy as well. We do have our first look at Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. This is another human scientist villain that costs a blue for a 0/2. Whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an Ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus. You may tap her to cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of Ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying its mana cost. Again, in artifact decks, that could be very, very useful. Easy to get rid of Lady Octopus, but I do think that is a pretty solid option, especially if you have a lot of artifacts on hand. Superior Spider-Man here looks pretty good as well. This art is tremendous. I do very much enjoy that. Yeah, some more commons and uncommons that I think look pretty good. Spider-Woman here, pretty solid. A little dual option for a white and either a white or a blue and a colorless for a 2/2 flying with Venom Blast. Artifacts and creatures your opponent control enter tapped. That's actually kind of insane. That will be subject to removal for sure. We got Wraith. I think this card looks awesome as well. 1 colorless, a white, and a blue for a 1/1 with double strike. And Feargrass. Wraith can't be blocked. So not that strong, but with double strike and with some of the bump options you can get to allow attacks to get through, that could be very, very interesting overall. This may be like kind of a sleeper for some like interesting maybe a commander deck, but I think it'll be a pretty solid option overall. Friendly Neighborhood, which I think is a pretty sick enchantment here. It's an enchant land. When this aura enters, create 3/1/1 green and white human citizen tokens. Enchanted land has one tap colorless and tap it to target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. For each creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. In token decks, this could go pretty crazy because you can get a creature. What was I just saying about Wraith? Now you toss this in, and all of a sudden they get +1/+1 for each each creature you control. So imagine you have a ton of tokens. Toss her out there with double strike. She can't be blocked, and she's going to do an insane amount of damage. The Death of Gwen Stacy. This is a really cool looking card for 2 colors and a black. Destroy target creature for 1. This is a saga, by the way. Destroy target creature. Number 2, each player may discard a card. Each player who doesn't loses 3 life. And then exile any number of target players' graveyards. So, yeah, that could be really problematic for graveyard decks for sure. We got Villainous Wrath, Strength of Will, Savage Beating, which looks insane. You got Venom here taking down Spider-Man. This is for 2 red and 3 colorless. For an instant, cast a spell only during your turn and only during combat. Choose 1. Creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. Untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, and then you have Entwine for a colorless and a red. That sounds pretty wild overall. Anytime you can get second combat phases, it kind of is pretty insane. Then we've got Tangle here. This is a colorless and a green. For an instant, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. Each attacking creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap phase. I think that's a very useful card for sure. Silk Guard, Feed the Swarm, Scarlet Spider. Some of these are insane. We got Ben Riley Scarlet Spider as well, so we got the dual Scarlet Spiders, which makes a lot of sense in the universe, but they have different abilities. I do like that quite a bit. And again, I think the art looks very, very good. Clever Impersonator. This is a pretty interesting card also for 2 colorless and 2 blue. It's a shapeshifter 0/0. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any non-land permanent on the battlefield. That is kind of insane. Sorcery. This is Hex. Destroy 6 target creatures. It does cost 4 colorless and 2 black, so it is very, very expensive. Leyline Binding. I love these arts on these cards, man. They look so good. Pumpkin Bombardment, yeah. So Rocket Powered Goblin Glider. This is the one that I really like. When this equipment enters, if it was cast from your graveyard, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature has +2/+0 and has flying and haste. Equipped to Mayhem 2, and it costs 3 colorless mana. Originally, we got Oscorp Tower. So that's a pretty good land because you can add blue, black, or red. It also has Mayhem, so you can play this card from your graveyard if you discard it this turn. It enters tapped, and then when it enters, you lose 2 life. So a lot of drawbacks there, but pretty interesting. I went over interdimensional web watch already. Radioactive Spider, and then all of those. We got a counterspell that looks pretty good with Dr. Octopus there. But yeah, the last one that I think I saw over here, Arana, Heart of the Spider, also for 1 colorless, red and white. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Again, very interesting card there. I think could be very, very useful. Especially only 3 mana for a 3/3 is actually pretty solid. So I do think that is a very, very good option. That's obviously the alternate art that I really want, but this one's pretty solid as well. Oh, and then finally, let's talk about Cosmic Spider, because some of these other ones are pretty good. We got Spinneret and Spiderling. I think that's a good card as well. We got Chameleon, and then Parker Luck, which is not great. Mind Break Trap. These arts here, absolutely sick. But this guy right here, if you want to make a spider deck, especially a 5-color spider deck, this is for you. Cosmic Spider-Man. Flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, haste, 5/5. It costs 1 of each color mana. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, other spiders you control gain flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. Remember, this applies to base spiders. This applies to the spider heroes. And this is going to be your ultimate Spider-Man commander, 5-color, insane option. Yes, it's very expensive. Yes, it's going to be hard to cast. Yes, it's not going to be the most OP deck, but man, could that be very, very fun, very, very interesting. And overall, you could really fulfill your Spider theme deck fantasies with this, and I think that's pretty awesome overall. Anyway, let me know what of the cards that I talked about today was your favorite. Which ones will you be looking to build around? If I pull Cosmic Spider-Man, I will absolutely 100% build them. So I'd love some suggestions in the comments down below of what cards would go perfectly in a Spider deck. Let me know. My name is Jopa. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.